Hello and welcome to Executive Chair. My name is Miles Rebeiro. I'm a reporter at Construction Wave, and I'm joined today by Eddie McGillycuddy, CEO and founder of Glencar. So we'll jump straight into it. I'm going to start by asking, who is Eddie McGillycuddy? What is your story? How would you sum up your career in your own words?
I'm Edward McGillycuddy, but Eddie McGillycuddy. Chief Exec of Glencar Construction Group. I'm 44 years old. Started in industry in 2002 after graduating from Liverpool John Moores University with a 2-1 in construction management. Joined McLaren. Was at McLaren for 10 years or so, and then moved to Sydney in Australia for a while, but Jones Lang was south. Then came back to these shores. Went back to McLaren for another number of years, and then started Glencar about 2016.
Okay, so you came up through McLaren. What was that like, and what were the lessons you learned from it?
McLaren were a very new company when I graduated. I was actually at Volker Fitzpatrick's on my Fitzpatrick's at the time on my year's placement, where I worked closely with Kevin Taylor, who was the MD of Fitzpatrick at the time. So in the interim period of when I went back to finish my degree, Kevin had started McLaren. So when I came out, I just went straight to McLaren. They were a brand new company. There was, some of the most impressive people I've ever worked with there. They were young. Kevin and Phil are very, very inspirational people. They instill in you a work ethic. You want to exceed your expectation. You want to work hard, and you're surrounded by people like that. Because it was a new company, you didn't have anywhere to hide. You couldn't be a passenger. You had to contribute. You had to add value. And if you didn't stay there very long. But people worked hard, and you all helped each other out. That team spirit, the sort of family feel was prevalent. But I loved it. I had a great time at McLaren. You'll never hear a bad word from me about McLaren. I had a great time, great learning grounds. I was very disappointed when I left, but I had the ambition to start a company on my own at some point. So.
Yeah, and so how did that happen? What sort of broke you into it?
It's like anything. I always had that ambition, I suppose. That ambition was sated at McLaren to a point, and it was because I was promoted well and I was looked after, and I did have responsibility and ownership. I was making decisions. I enjoyed working for people I worked with, but there was that niggling feeling at the back of your mind that maybe you could be doing this for yourself.
Yeah.
So I just, about 2015, I suppose it was, I started, the idea started to heat up in my head, and I approached Chris Gleave. Chris Gleave owns a bit of the group, and it's my partner. He approached him. He took a bit of convincing, I'm not going to lie, because he was very senior at McLaren. He was doing very well. But we managed to get an agreement. And then in 2016, we started Glencar. And
nice. And what was the USP? When you were formulating the idea, what were you thinking? This is going to be.
With McLaren's growth was huge. There came a point where they weren't really looking at the sort of smaller schemes, and that's not being negative for them because the bigger schemes were delivering more margin and delivering more turnover and more success. So my head was sort of turned by the smaller schemes, saying there's a bit of a niche there, there's an opportunity there in that market. And that's not to say McLaren stopped doing them altogether. They weren't focusing on them. So I saw an opportunity there. Decided to start, and we focused. I did talk to consultants and clients and so on and so forth about is there an opportunity in that market, and the feedback was very positive. So yes, there definitely is, to bring that sort of tier one mentality, that tier one sort of health and safety, quality, the sort of very professional approach to them sort of size schemes. So that's what we did, and that was the business plan was just merely to focus on the sort of 10 billion and less schemes in the industrial and logistics sector.
Fair. And what was it like finding it with Chris?
It's exciting, obviously. Nervous, excitement. Chris is brilliant. Chris is absolutely excellent what he does. So I know we had a good foundation. We had a list of people we wanted to bring with us ultimately. And thankfully, my brother Eugene came almost straight away. He was a project manager / health and safety guy. He's now director of health and safety in the business. And the clients we worked with followed us with them size schemes. It was really good. It was all that was good in the industry. People stood by the word a lot of the time. Some didn't, I'm not going to lie to you. But a lot of clients came with us. We're very honest. We have integrity. If something's too big or too complicated, we'll say it. And now it was exciting. It was. If I look back at it now, I was probably a bit too positive about it all. It was gambling a significant amount, wasn't it? Do you know what
I mean? And so this all sounds really, really like hit the ground running. But were there any early moments of doubt or fear, or I can't do this? Or
of course, you'd be silly. You'd worry about someone who never had doubts. You always doubt yourself, don't you, a little bit? But the week we started the business, we had Brexit. So all of a sudden, funds were saying, "Oh gosh, we're not sure what's going to happen here." A lot of jobs got kiboshed and put on hold. So then straight away you're thinking, bloody hell, have we timed this like the worst you could ever time a sort of venture of this sort? But in time, that sort of certain clients came forward with their work, so they were self-funding, and that sort of helped us. The stuff like Brexit actually drove the demand for what we do, because the UK was in essence becoming a massive island on its own. That required there to be a lot more onshore manufacturing, a lot more onshore storage, where people's shopping habits were changing. COVID drove that even further, but it was happening before COVID. The requirement for what sort of dark stores, I suppose, storage of clothing, of all that sort of stuff. People could go online and order it straight from a warehouse. The shop front isn't as important as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And Brexit was a massive concern when we started, and obviously a few years after that we had COVID, which is another huge bomb. You've got hundreds of families relying on you, and the whole industry, everyone was told to stop working. Like, bloody hell, what do we do here?
And so
our people, we managed to react to that. You adapt.
Of course.
Of a certain size, you're agile. You know what I mean? You can react. You can change directions. You can. But we the minute that sort of kicked in, everyone stopped working. We went straight to sites and found a way. We found a way of working. The benefit of big I&L schemes is that you have massive amounts of space. The social distancing and all that sort of thing were less of a challenge for us to overcome in, say, a central London business.
Yeah, fair. And would you say those sort of market conditions were fundamental to your success?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Whilst there were horrific things for people, COVID particularly, it drove what we do.
Yeah.
Life science and pharmaceutical, with the clinic building, all that sort of stuff. There's significant demand brought onshore, and luckily we were well positioned to take advantage of it.
Yeah. And then how did you build up off of that early success?
People. Everything goes back to people, doesn't it? People and supply chain. Our people are excellent. And I always say it. People and supply chain. If you've got the right people, you've got the right supply chain, do you know what? It's going to be a success. Yeah. Our industry is full of the most intelligent people I've ever worked with, ever come across, because there's no problem we don't find a way around. There's no problem we don't overcome. Nothing stops us. We get the design team on a meeting, you get around a table or teams and such things, as it was at the time, then you overcame every one of the challenges that were presented in front of you.
Fair. And I just wanted to find out a bit more about the name. So I understand it comes from the village where you grew up. Can you tell me a bit more about the importance?
Yeah, Glencar is in remote Kerry, up in the mountains. I left there in 1982. I was born in 1980. Dad's company, unfortunately, went into administration type effect in 1982. So Dad had to leave Ireland and move to England and work in construction. We followed a number of months later. So we always had that connection. I was born there. I'm from there. Every Easter, every summer, every Christmas, every holiday we had, we spent in Kerry, in Glencar. It'll always be our home. Me and my siblings, there's 7 of us, and Mum and Dad. So there's a family of 9, and that will always be our home. Mum and Dad have moved back there now. They live there permanently. And we've always got a connection to the place. It is home, and there's an emotional connection. Also, doff my cap to my mum and dad, who are so important to me. As a thank you for everything you've done, and this is a little doff my cap for you, if you like.
And how has that sort of upbringing, has it impacted your work ethic and your approach to the industry? And
absolutely, like it goes back to work ethic. Like, my father lost everything in '82 and then came back and built everything up again. He was chief exec of GLP, or Gaisley as it was at the time. He started a Pizza Hut. When you watch that, he worked Monday to Saturday, 18 hours a day, 17 hours a day. When he was construction director at Asda, he used to get up in the morning, drive to Leeds, work for the day, then drive back home in the evening. When you watch that work ethic, it does nothing but instill that work ethic in you. He worked so hard to make a success of himself. We witnessed that. We saw where it came from, where it went to, and we want to replicate that, if not improve it.
Fair. And do you ever find that with your current work ethic, you find it a struggle to like slow down, or there's like some element of...
Yeah, there is that element of that. But there's also, I remember him not being there at certain times in childhood, and I don't want to do that either. So the work-life balance is huge. I love dropping my kids off at school. I've got 4 young children, as I mentioned, and there's no better feeling when you're picking them up from school and they come out the gates and see you. Fantastic. I love it. It's a real privilege. And I do encourage all my team. I say, make sure you do that once a week. Pick them up or drop them off once a week. Make sure you do it. Find the time.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to do that again. You can look back and you're never going to regret doing it, are you?
Like, no, it's fundamental.
Doing it.
Yeah, and it can improve your working life as well.
Everything about it. If you instill that work-life balance,
obviously
you don't want people taking the mick. that's to be. If you take it too many times, they will stop doing it. But it's just memories like that. You can't. There's no physical amount to that sort of memory, is it? You're gonna look back and say, "I was there. I did do that, and I had a great time doing it."
Yeah, of course. And then so now, years in, What would you say you owe the company's success to overall?
I'm going to go back to people again, aren't I?
Go back to
People
people.
and supply chain and people up the line and
Yeah.
the guys who work for Glencar, they're fantastic. We have great staff, like team retention. Our people have been very, very proud of the sort of atmosphere we've created. Also, people up the line, clients have been very loyal. Like, the name above the door is one thing, but I think I'm massive on relationships. People work with people. And if you have a great relationship, you work hard for someone, and that relationship, there's no better reference for an individual and or a company is repeat business. It's when someone's been on that journey with you and they choose to go on that journey again with you. That's the biggest reference. And I say that to my team. And with our supply chain, it's the same rhetoric, isn't it? We've got such a loyal supply chain. During the times of like people had massive labor issues and that, we didn't, because we looked after our supply chain both before, during, and after these sort of events. And that loyalty exists and it's prevalent across our entire industry. It's something I don't think we shout enough about in the industry, how reliant we are on our supply chain. These guys have to succeed for us to succeed. And likewise, our clients, we have to succeed in order for them to succeed. So it should all be a sort of positive journey.
Why do you think it is that it isn't as
I don't know.
powerfully highlighted?
I don't know. I think there's some old hat practices where people think it's good to beat down costs and stuff like that. I don't know. It's not for. I don't live that journey. It's not really common others.
Would you ever be as bold as to say that you and Glencar are trying to change the face of the industry, or what it's
because there's so many guys like us. There's people who compete against, they're exactly like us, and it's not, we're not unique in that respect, because a lot of my competitors are significant repeat business as well. That's why a lot of us are successful. So no, I wouldn't say we're unique in that sort of journey.
No, fair enough. And can you tell me about the moment where you thought, the moment you realised, you thought, this is it, I've got something great here?
Still not there yet. I always say, people say to me, yeah, look, you're always proud of it. We're proud of where we've got to, but let's keep it going. Let's improve. Let's look at what we can do better, how we can do it better. I don't think there's ever a point where I'll sit still and say we've made it, because you always want that continuous improvement, don't you? You always something you could do better. There's always some element of the journey that could be improved, and you want to make sure you jump on that and not sit on your laurels.
Yeah.
Rest on your laurels.
Yeah. So it's safe to say, there is never a moment where you can just like put your feet back and go.
No, not yet. Anyway, look, 44. I've got a lot of energy still. Maybe I'll try and get my handicap down. Maybe.
Fair. And do you see the drive for INL and sort of the data center boom ever slowing down? And what is Glencar doing to sort of diversify the brand? And
data centers not for the foreseeable. No, I can't see that slowing for the foreseeable. The requirements are huge across the country, up and down. The pipeline is massive, and these jobs aren't small. Some of them are absolutely monstrous. Like, with the AI and such things coming on a lot more, the requirements do nothing but increase. I think the biggest restriction to that is the power availability across the UK. INL, there's always slows and accelerations in the INL market. What have we done to diversify? We're massive into life science and pharmaceutical now. We're doing a lot of ports, infrastructure works, retail. So there is a lot of diversification within the organisation already, and we are actively looking to expand the elements as well, to be fair.
And sort of to add on to that, where do you see the market growing and changing over the next 5 years, and the company's place in it?
In industrial logistics, like the actual fundamental construction philosophy, can't change that much. We have massive steel frames that are cladded and we've got big ground floor slab. I think in terms of the internal fit out and the internal actually operation, there'll be a significant amount more automation. I think robotics now will just be going from strength to strength. With a lot of retailers primarily, we do a lot of the automation with them. Whereas the first one we did 5 years ago would have 1,000 employees, CFC, a customer fulfillment center, that might have 500 employees now, which is significant progression in terms of like robotics, but also regression in terms of actually people going out and working. Follow me. In the sort of facade and unitization, we do a lot of that in the life science and pharmaceutical elements, where the facade treatments are a lot more technical, but you can do that off site and you bring that in. The MEP, I think it will come into site a lot more prefabricated. So in the warehousing and in all sorts of form of construction there, I think the MEP is they're a leader in a way, to be fair.
Fair. And so how do you see these modern advancements in technology and innovation sort of changing and impacting your role in the sector?
Look, it's a difficult one to forecast because everyone's got different ideas. There's all sorts of different things happening everywhere. Someone's going to have a unicorn at some point that will save so much time and money, but at the cost of maybe a significant amount of jobs, which I don't know, is it a positive? Is it a negative? Is this sort of technological revolution? Want a better word? I don't know. Pass. I don't know. I think we'll have a lot more automation and the actual usage of these buildings. But in terms of robotics, building, the actual construction stuff, I do think it's going to be there, but not for a good few years yet.
Yeah, fair. And you mentioned previously the importance of the supply chain, and you said we spoke about how it doesn't get enough sort of attention and highlight. Can you tell me a bit more about your Glencar's approach to?
I see. Look, supply chain is an extension of our team.
Yeah,
I see them as our people. We set up. Our pay philosophy is very fair. We have a supply chain team. We look after our guys and we make sure that health, safety, quality, payments, financials. We don't overexpose them to too many jobs. We do financial checks them every week and talk to them to make sure everyone's okay. If we can help someone out, we always will. We have supply chain days where they all come together and we discuss about what's coming up, what we're looking to do differently, what we can all do to improve. As I say, look, the supply chain are the reason we are successful. Our people and our supply chain. Without that, you fail. If one member of the supply chain is weak, then the whole deck of cards can, in essence, fall because we all have to pull in the same direction. We all have to succeed for a project to be a success.
Yeah,
that runs through the business. We have to educate a few QSs. I'm not going to lie to you. We have to educate a few QSs on the way.
And then sort of, can you run me through any of your sort of major concerns for the industry going forward?
I think I've got a big concern about young people coming into industry on the sort of trade subcontractor side. I think there's less and less young people coming in, and our reliance on sort of external labour coming from Europe is increasing. I think that's a significant risk. We need to get more into colleges, into universities, into schools, and tell them about how good our bloody industry is. You know, you can be well paid and work a good day and be well rewarded, and at the end of the week have a good pay packet and live a good life.
Yeah,
our industry is not the muck and crap it used to be about. Our industry is now. You go to construction sites now, the signage, the tenders, the welfare, the people you're working with is all 100x better than what it used to be. And again, I just don't think we communicate that enough. And I think that's something we need to do.
And can you tell me how Glencar is working to rectify that or to?
We have, in terms of us as the main contractor, we have between 10 and 15% of our team is trainee and apprentice. Okay. And that's something we will always want to maintain. We partner with various universities and colleges, and all our trainees are going on part-time degrees, so day release. The next step of that is trying to get in with our supply chain and helping them on their journey, see how they can bring in more people. Because the young people coming into our lifeblood of the industry, and our reliance on people coming in from mainland Europe needs to not be as heavy, if you follow me. We need to bring more young people from the UK into the industry.
Yeah. And then
I don't mean that by being in any way, shape, or form. I don't know. This can be construed as being anti-Europe, but it's not.
No. I get.
We've got a great industry here that people are very well paid. We should be actually promoting that within.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, were those your sort of main concerns? Was there anything else that sort of?
Just planning in the UK needs to sort it, but the Labour government has pledged to get it sorted. Planning is like a quagmire at the minute; it just gets stuck. And schemes like it used to be a 6-week tender start on site. Now it can be 6 months. The gestation period between actually securing a job and actually getting on site can be significantly longer.
Yeah,
and that's a big source of frustration. But the Labour have acknowledged that and are hopefully going to address it.
Would you say you're broadly optimistic about where things are going, maybe in that specific field? Yeah.
I'm an optimist, though.
even when like time's challenging, would you say like?
You've always got to look for the positives of anything. You can't let yourself get dragged down, can you?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like when COVID hit and we had to stop sites, and you got hundreds of families wanted to know when their people, the breadwinner, go back to work. We're always looking for the positives, looking for a way to make it happen, to work around it, to make it happen is what we always say at work.
Have you got any advice you would give to sort of smaller companies or within your supply chain that feel the weight of costs and labour shortages?
Keep going back to people. It is about people. Trust your people, empower your people, and likewise your supply chain, the people that work with you. empower them and trust them, because working as a team and believing in each other is far more, you can achieve so much greater things than going individually.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you, Eddie. That is all of the questions I have for you today.
Thanks for your time.
I hope you had a good time here.